Hi, today I'm going to show you how to change out the processor and memory on an HP nc6120 laptop. The first thing we always do is remove the battery. Push these two latches and slide out the battery. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to take out the hard drive, which is right underneath this little cover. So now that I've removed all the screws, let's see if I can get the keyboard out. Just pull down on these latches. There's 4 latches here. Then lift, and the keyboard comes out. And here is the keyboard. You pull up on this little ribbon connector thing with 2 fingernails on either side, and then the keyboard slips right on out. With the computer laid out perfectly flat like this, you need to put a little screwdriver in here and pop these out to get this little the button control panel off, and remove this little ribbon cable connector that goes right here. With that removed, you can see that there are a couple more screws to get the screen off. And then we can lift this off, lift off the screen, and just gently get it to the side here. Now back here's the cable for the connector for the screen. Now I've got the screen disconnected. It's just a matter of popping the rest of the plastic off to get this all off. Here's the processor, and this is the fan assembly and heatsink that cools the processor. And I'm going to take it off. Oops, where's my Phillips? Might need a bigger screwdriver for this. And there is the processor. And I'm going to, I lied before, I didn't mean to, but I said this had a 1.73 gigahertz processor. It's actually got a 1.6. That's interesting. So I'm just going to remove it. And right over here is the processor we're going to put in. Now, I'm going to touch metal, always touch metal. If you had an anti-static strap, that'd be best. I always wash my hands, I scrub them before I do any computer work, because you want to keep as much crud out of here as possible. There's the new one, and there's the old one. So, the new one goes in just like the old one. Make sure there's no bent pins, especially if you're buying something off eBay. Blow some dust out. And it should go in completely effortlessly. If there's any effort at all required to get this in the socket, you've done it wrong. On this one, the pin 1 is up here, what's called the pin 1. So you make sure pin 1 is in there. When I'm changing out a processor, I always just set the old one above it, so I see exactly the orientation. And I make sure I get the orientation exactly the same when I'm changing it out. Now we'll just lock it down with a little lock screw. Now we've got the new processor in place. And we can put the old one on this anti-static bag, save it in case this one ever burns out. This fan assembly is what I wanted to show you. A lot of times there's a lot of dust and stuff gets caught in here. This will overheat your processor, maybe even stop your fan from turning. And this right here, let me show you this in macro. This right here, this little grill portion where the air gets pushed out from the fan, this gets clogged with animal hair, dust, everything else. And if it does, your processor won't be cooled. So you need to make sure this is cleaned out every now and then. I use like a toothbrush or something, and I really get it clean all the way through. So that's that. But clean it off really, really good and dry it off and make it as shiny and wonderful as you possibly can. And then if you're going to apply thermal pad like I am this time, This little thermal pad is quite easy to use. You just pull off the plastic on one side, pull off all of the plastic. Where's my X-Acto knife? Pull off all of this plastic on this side, and you can on this heat sink, it's actually got little markers where the thermal pad goes. So I just place it inside those markers, and I know I've got it exactly where the manufacturer, in this case HP, wanted it to go. It's not quite square, but that's going to work. And then you peel off the other side of it. So what this stuff is going to do is, when it's in contact with the processor, it's going to melt as the processor heats up and make the molecules of the processor and the molecules of this copper heat sink come into as good a thermal conductivity as they can. The heat is sucked away from the processor into this network here of copper, and then the little fan blows air through here to cool this. So that's how it cools your processor. So now we just put it back exactly where we got it. I hope I don't have you on macro, because you wouldn't be able to see any of this. Okay, so now we've got this. I'm going to move some stuff out of the way. Back side of my X-Acto. Wire right here. Let's get him out of the way completely for now. I don't want anything interfering with this. Okay, so now we just squish this down. Get this guy out of the way. Squish this down. And we put him back. Now, the thing about putting him back is you want to screw this down on this side a little bit. Then screw this a little bit. And keep going at angles just like changing a flat tire. So I want to show you, if you were starting from scratch and just changing out the memory, what you do. You take off this little cover, remove the screw and take out this cover. And you take your new memory module that you're going to change it out for. So these are 256 megabyte memory modules. Ew, get rid of that. Plug in our new 1 gigabyte memory module. Just put it in there a little bit like this and snap it down. Now, I had to unscrew these keyboard screws. Any screws that went to the keyboard that has a little keyboard symbol, unscrew those, because you want to be able to remove the keyboard. So now let's turn it over. I probably should also have removed the battery before I did this, but let's be venturous. Remove the keyboard. You can just flop it out like this. Here's the memory module. Snap this. This is the other 256 megabyte module. Get rid of that. Here's our new module. Slip it in at an angle, push it down. New memory modules in place. And here we booted up, and as you can see, we've got a 2.13 gigahertz processor and 2 gigabytes of RAM. Thanks for watching. Please stop by steeljan.com. Bye-bye.